بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجه الكريم. We reached up to the section on the duties of the teacher and the manners of the teachers. And we reached up to the third duty of the teacher. I want to go back quickly on the second duty. When we said that this teacher should not seek for teaching, benefiting knowledge, a reward or some kind of payment. And what I wanted to mention here, as I indicated it yesterday, but it's extremely important because we don't get it. So we should mention it. While the teachers should never teach for money, as Sheikh Al-Bouti said to us, rahimahullah, try not to make your living through teaching knowledge. If you can, it's not haram, because if you are a teacher, you get paid for teaching, right? But you're not teaching the knowledge saying, if you don't pay me, I don't teach you. That's different. That's what's intended here. That the knowledge is taught only for some gift, some reward, some payment. And if that is not done, you don't teach. That's what is intended. On the other side, for us, and this is more important for us, because Imam al-Ghazali, he was a teacher in a school, and that school took care of him. And the governor and the ruler of the area established the school and paid the teachers and gave them what they needed. So Imam al-Ghazali was well taken care of as a teacher. However, in our context, we don't have governments taking care of our institutions of learning. So it is our duty to establish these institutions and to dedicate resources so those institutions are sustainable, or we'll never have them. And then we will lose altogether. So there is a balance here, right? That we strike that balance from our side. We realize the need of sustaining Islamic institutions of learning. And to do that, it requires us to support them because they're not funded by the government. This is in our context. And no one's going to take that responsibility off of us. What the government in the West has done is they give you a 501c3 and they won't tax you. But still, it is your job to go and collect charitable donations to sustain the institutions and everything it's needed to sustain those institutions. And we need those institutions desperately, right? We need them. And we need more of them. We don't have enough, right? Because Islamic education in our environments are at an all-time low. And the reason it's like that, among the reasons, besides we're getting closer to the end of times, but among the reasons is we don't sustain institutions of learning, nor do we support them adequately. So therefore, those people who could spend their lives teaching us are not able to do it because they have to go earn a living in something else. And the way the society is, earning the living in something else takes up all their time. And what is left is not adequate to fulfill the responsibility that we need in terms of teachers and students to learn. Is this point clear? I needed to really, focus on this or highlight this issue because sometimes I think we don't realize how important it is. So does everyone follow me in this? Is this issue clear? And I say that all the time because there are many things that I would like to do, right? There are many classes and courses and curriculums that I would like to present. I don't have the staff to do it. And one person can't do all that. It's impossible, even if you wanted to. With our own lives, with family and children and masjid, you can do it. You only can do a portion of it. But what we're going to need is to free people so that we can have others do it, so that we can have a full platform with everything we need. But that takes support. It will never happen without support. So for instance, let's quickly go, y'all ready? Let's do a quick, see how good our memories is. Our memories are, I named about 9 sciences, religious sciences, that we must learn. I named about, and I went over 9, but just give me 9 of the most important sciences that we all need for our Islamic growth and development, that the students should know. Come on, let's go, name them. Let me see, this is a quick test. I mentioned 9 Islamic sciences that the one who studies Islam should know and should have at least an introductory understanding of those sciences. So fiqh, Aqidah, go ahead, Sister Haja Stacy. That's 2, fiqh, Aqidah, go ahead. Help out, everyone jump in. Logic, hadith, okay? Tasawwuf, okay? You got 5 so far. Belief in Allah is Aqidah. Lugha, Arabic language. Good. Six. Go ahead. Come on. It's enough for y'all. Do y'all review your notes? Usul al-fiqh. Good. Sira. Good. What about Quran, Saifullah? Right, Sira. What about the Quran? What about the Quran? What about the Quran? You said we got to learn the Quran. What about it? And what about Hadith? Muhammad, that didn't come out clear. It says Al Quran. Science of Hadith, Kimberly. Right. Good. What about the Quran? Sciences of the Quran. Right, Fatima. Qira'at, the rest of styles of recitation of the Quran. We need these things, right? Tafsir, exactly. So all that sciences and more, we need to learn. Who's going to teach all of that if we don't provide for teachers? Who's going to do all that? It's practically impossible for one person without support to do that. Even with support, one person is not going to be able to do all that well, right? Even if he was a great teacher, he can't do all of it by himself. Even if he was supported, can't do it, right? So if we know we need all that, all of those things need teachers, right? So then we have a responsibility. If we're serious about, and all those things are necessary to maintain our deen and understanding and preservation of our deen. So you have to free people to do that, right? So you have a responsibility in that for your own self, for your own children, and for your own offspring. And that is a communal obligation that these things exist, right? Because it is through these things that we learn the religion. But the main barrier from those things being taught are our teachers are not funded. So they're off doing whatever they need to do to earn a living. And whatever they have left after everything else, then that can be given to teaching and educating. Hence a gap, because they have to take care of all these other matters. And what is left, you can have that. So if there's only an hour a week left, 2 hours a week, that's what you get. 3 hours, 4 hours, but that's not enough for all we need. Y'all follow? So when we see a lack of knowledge in these areas in our community, we should attribute that to ourselves and the lack of support to facilitate the dissemination of that knowledge. So y'all with me on that? Y'all follow? Is that clear before I can go on? Any questions? Let's do our part, really. It's important. We're really, really in desperate need of maintaining institutions and platforms of learning and all this stuff. We have to support. We have to. So this is not even an issue for teachers, that they don't even worry about that stuff. We took care of it. Just teach the knowledge, right? And then when you do that, you also facilitate for those who, oh, I should make this last point. When you do that, you facilitate for those who are not able to. Because one of the things I notice, especially in certain areas, only the well off get to learn certain things. As for the poor, they're neglected because they don't have money. This I know for a fact. So they'll have classes that only the affluent can afford. The poor cannot afford them, so the poor don't learn. And the only way to fix that is that all of us support so that it's accessible to everyone. Right? Rich, poor, in between don't matter because it's not going to cost you, particularly you yourself, nothing because everyone helped. Right? And if we all do a little, no one has to do a lot. Now, let us go, inshallah. Fatiha for for the soul of Imam al-Ghazali. Fatiha. Now,
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him, said, the third duty is that he should not abstain at any time from advising the learner. For example, he should stop him from assuming any rank before deserving it, or engaging in a hidden science before finishing that with that which is plain. Then he should draw his students' attention to the fact that the goal of seeking the sciences is to draw closer to Allah Ta'ala, exalted is He, and not to seek leadership or boasting.
And here, this is extremely important. That you understand that the teacher should always be advising the student for what is better for his hereafter, right? And one of the things that this teacher should always watch in the student is that he doesn't try to become a raisin before he is a grape. The teacher should be careful to make sure the student doesn't try to become a raisin before he's a grape. So he should let him know his rank and his level and make sure that he does his utmost to prevent him from going above his rank. Right? And he should tell him, when you seek your knowledge, remember, it is the ultimate status, the ultimate objective to have a higher status and closeness in status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And don't get occupied with stuff that's not important to you. You're trying to get closer to Allah, have a higher rank. You don't want to be a leader. You don't want to say, I'm the man or I'm the woman. You want to get closer in status to Allah because the knowledge that you want to seek is knowledge that's going to make you a winner on the hereafter. And all of those things will make you a loser. So Sheikh Samuel always would say to us, put yourself down. And what is meant by put yourself down so that Allah will elevate you. Whoever humbles themselves before Allah, Allah will elevate them, right? So always this teacher should be watching the development of the student. And when he sees in the student that the student is straying from what is most beneficial for him on the path, he should advise him and push him back to the straight path. Now,
The fourth
as the
duty,
Prophet ﷺ said, ad-dinu nasiha, that the religion is sincere counsel. Now,
the fourth duty, which is one of the subtlest of the job of teaching, consists of scolding students due to their bad manners, whenever possible by means of hinting only. Open scolding should be avoided, and the teacher should do this out of mercy and not out of reprimand. This is because open scolding rips apart the veil of reverence, bequeaths the audacity to counterattack, and influences the desire for insistence.
and this is a function because the teacher, as we mentioned before, is like a parent to the student. And when the parent sees their child doing something that is not befitting in terms of their character or their practice, that parent is going to discipline that child. And mom used to say that, or dad, or usually mom, dad didn't say that, dad just did it. Mom says when she's going to give you a spanking, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. I never got that point because I was the one that always seemed to be in the pain. This is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Dad didn't say that. He just gave it to you. He didn't care if you was hurting or not, right? But, but the teacher should censor the student when necessary, right? But with mercy. As the Prophet ﷺ sometimes had to censor. And the the teacher should never do that in front of others, right? Because it has the opposite effect. Or do it in a way that it doesn't sting as bad. Because sometimes it may need to be corrected at a certain point, and that may sometimes occur in front of others. But the way they do it should be a way that preserves the dignity of the person, of the student. Now,
The fifth duty is that the one who is entrusted to teach specific sciences should not create an aversion in the learner for the other sciences which he does not teach.
right.
The teacher of grammar usually denounces the science of fiqh, and the teacher of fiqh usually denounces the science of hadith. He who is entrusted in teaching one science should, in fact, widen the path of learning other sciences for the students.
And this is an important thing. And this is listen, everybody has their specialty. And we need to learn to bring all our specialties together to help one another. Not use one thing you're strong in and denounce the other person who may be weak in what you're strong in, but strong in what you're weak in, right? So every science has its people, right? As Sheikh Noor mentioned one time, that a person may be extremely knowledgeable and skillful in one field, but suffer from radical deficiencies in another, right? That's life. No one knows everything. So everything should be taken from its people. And the people of one specialty must realize that the other specialties are important too, right? Now, go ahead.
The sixth duty is that the teacher should teach the student according to his understanding and should not speak to him about things which his reason cannot comprehend. Thus he arouses in him a distaste for learning. Ibn Masud said, "You will never speak to any people about anything that their minds cannot comprehend, except that it will be a cause of unrest, to some of them fitna."
Yeah, it will cause a fitna. So here, the other thing is that's why even when we talk about things, I always say, and don't make claims. right? So we're not going to talk about something that none of us understand, but we may indicate that there are things that are real that we don't understand, and to that extent. And in saying that, we don't claim that we understand. We just have a realization that there are things that we just don't know, but they are real. So don't deny them because we don't know them, but also don't claim them. Why? Because we don't know them, right? So it has this same thing. And I'm telling you, the more you experience, the less you will be impressed. Put that up, please. The more you experience, the less you will be impressed. Put that up there. We need to keep this in our mind. The more you experience, the less you will be impressed. Can we copy that? Everybody put it up. This is important. I'm getting ready to close out after we do this last one. We're at the end of this chapter. Can we copy that real quick? What do I mean by that quickly? Too many of us get fascinated with our own experiences as if they are the only experiences, right? Too many of us get fascinated, especially beginner students. So you meet a teacher and you think he's the best thing since sliced bread, or she's the best thing since sliced bread. And then you start making these the best teacher, my sheikh is the best sheikh, you get all of this exaggeration for your experience, not realizing that there are other experiences that could very well trump your experience or be much more uh, pleasurable than what you experience. So, what you experience is not all that is to be experienced. Keep that in your mind. And what you know is not all that is to be known. This is a beautiful advice for you to travel through your study. Keep it in mind. So you don't get lost in no one's orbit. MashaAllah. That's nice. And may Allah reward us for whatever we acquired. But we don't stop where you're at. There are more stations, and there are more layers to understanding than what we have. Right? So when you experience, you ain't gonna be all blown away by everything. That doesn't mean you won't appreciate every experience, but you won't stop at that experience. You'll realize that there's more to know, there's more to experience, there's more to taste, right? This is very important in Islamic learning, right? It's extremely important. So even though we speak to people according to their rank and their level of understanding, but don't just keep them there. Let them know that it's more. Come on, climb, 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 climb. We can do better, right? Now, go ahead.
The seventh duty is that the teacher should be one who acts upon what he knows, and his speech should not contradict his actions. This is because knowledge is attained by means of inner sights, and action is attained by physical sights, and those who have physical sight are more in number. Hence, if his action contradicts his knowledge, it will be impossible for him to guide others, and people will mock him. Allah Ta'ala exalted as He says, will you bid others to piety and forget yourselves while you recite the book? Do you not understand?
Yes. So the most, I would say, important of all of these for the teacher is that you actually practice what you're teaching, which is sometimes can be difficult because the teacher may know more than they are able to practice. But they should make the utmost effort that what I'm saying to you, I actually try my best to do to the best of my ability, right? And we're all in the process, as Imam al-Haddad said, we're not making claims. We're always trying to act according to what we know. And that's why if you look at the book of assistance of Imam al-Haddad radiallahu ta'ala anhu, you will notice that he starts every chapter with you must. You must do such and such. You must do such and such. You must, you must, you must, you must. And as he said, I'm talking to myself first before I'm talking to others because I need to practice what I preach. And I'm not there yet. I'm falling short. And this is Imam al-Haddad saying that. I'm falling short. I'm deficient. So if that's Imam al-Haddad, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was a knower of Allah, a scholar, and inward and outward, what about us? Right? So we should all be in the position to say, hey, I'm still working on myself. I'm a work in progress, but I am a work, right? I am actually working. I'm not just saying it, I'm actually trying to be better. And if you want help with that, just talk to your spouse. For those who are married, talk to your spouse. They'll tell you how far you've come along. They'll let you know how far you have come along. For those who are not married, make sure you have a sincere advisor as a friend. Someone who will tell you about yourself for real. And this will help you. And don't be afraid to have someone tell you your blameworthy points. Right? It will help you. Everyone needs a sincere advisor. Usually I find the spouse to be the most sincere advisor. Your husband or your wife can tell you about you. They live with you, they experience you, they put up with you on a regular basis. They know about you, right? They know about you. I always ask my wife about myself all the time. And I'm informed about myself all the time. Alhamdulillah. It's a good thing though. Keep you balanced. Make sure that head don't get too big. Right? Alhamdulillah. Tell you, we've finished the 5th section of the book. Tomorrow we start Al-Bab Sadis, Alamatu Ulama al-Akhirah wa Ulama al-Su. The 6th section, the signs of the scholars of the hereafter and the evil scholars, meaning the scholars of this world. I remind you tonight at 6 o'clock, discussing our Deen program with Sheikh Walid al-Rifa'i. Please join in. Barakallahu fikum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.